Welcome back to my channel. I always go American in these videos. I don't know why. I'm clearly English, but I always go American, so soz about that. Today I'm going to be doing a story time on the time that I hitchhiked. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't quite hitchhiking, but I definitely got picked up on the road and got in someone's car. Okay, so long story short. I mean, it might not be short. Okay, so I'm going to start off with... Where do I start this? Okay, so one weekend basically my housemates were doing a music video. They were shooting a music video. Well, they weren't, they were in the music video, and it was going to be filmed at this place which was near... So basically, let's say I'm over here at uni and my house is over here at home, and they were doing a music video shoot between the two. And I wasn't going to go home that weekend, but they were both at this music video shoot all weekend. My other housemate, I think, was at home, so I was going to be alone in the house all weekend. And I was like, I could either stay alone in the house all weekend, or I could take advantage of this and go home, because they're going halfway and then I could get picked up halfway instead of the whole way. It means it would only be an hour, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, so then someone could just pick me up from this middle place and I could go home for the weekend. So I was like, okay guys, I'll come with you. Oh yeah, that was it. My boyfriend was going to see a show, so he could only pick me up after the show, because I wasn't going to make it there in time for him to pick me up before the show, because then you'd miss the show. So he said, I can pick you up after the show. It's a matinee, so it will be about 5:30. So I was like, yeah, that should be fine. I'll just chill somewhere in this place where they're doing the music video until you're ready. I'll just do some work or something in a cafe or something. So the town where I thought it was near, we drove to this place, and it was really sort of in the fields where they were shooting the music video. So there was no real places around for me to chill. Yeah, so it was in a really remote place. There was nowhere near for me to just chill and wait until my boyfriend could come pick me up. So we drove a little bit, but they didn't want to drive too far because obviously they had to be in this music video shoot and they didn't have time to be driving me wherever. So we went to the sort of closest town, which was literally about 4 houses and this pub. So I was like, oh, drop me at this pub, that'll be fine, like it looks fine, this pub, drop me here. Here's me not realising that I was literally in the middle of nowhere, like there was... So I get into this pub, there's no Wi-Fi, I have no signal. There was no signal, no Wi-Fi, so I couldn't do my work. I had no signal, so I couldn't even text anyone or ring anyone, as in to talk or whatever, send messages. So that's pretty rubbish, really. Couldn't do my work because I had no internet. I had no signal, so I couldn't even text anyone. Like, I couldn't do anything, basically. So, because they had no service or whatever, I thought maybe oh, it was a Sunday as well, so there was a bus stop opposite me, but I couldn't get a bus to the next town because it was a Sunday, no buses were running. So that was annoying. So I couldn't get a bus. I was in the middle of nowhere. The next town was 3 miles away. So I thought, at this point, I didn't really have another deal. Oh no, that was it, yeah. So then the pub, I hear the lady go, right, okay, better start clearing up, because we need to get locked up or something. So they were closing this pub. It was literally about... It was like 3 o'clock maybe, it was 3:30, 3 o'clock, and they were closing the pub on a Sunday, and I was like, what the hell? So then they were like, oh yeah, sorry, we're closing. So I had to go to the next place, but the next town was 3 miles away. My housemates were already at the shoot, so I had to they were whatever doing their music video, so I couldn't get them to help a brother out. So I was literally stuck in this pub that was closing, had nowhere else to go. I had another... I don't know, I had like 3 hours until Mark could come pick me up. So I thought, well, I better start walking before it gets dark. There's no point humming and hawing. So I started walking to this next town, but it was all not main roads, but there was no path on the road. So it was like I don't even know if it was a dual carriageway, but was it? I don't know, but there was one part which was a dual carriageway, and so there's no path. I'm literally walking on the road like obviously in the opposite direction, and people are like staring me down, like, what are you doing on this road? Anyway, so I'm using my phone to navigate me to this next town, and then I turn into a road which is literally like one car every 15 minutes, like hardly anyone down that road. There were all like trees like encroaching in, so it was only 3 o'clock, but it was a lot darker because of the trees. And I was literally like there was, apart from the trees, there was like fields and fields around, so there was like no one there but these trees. I was basically sort of walking through a foresty bit. So at that point I was mainly just worried about wild animals. I know that sounds ridiculous, but it was in this sort of enclosed foresty bit with just fields there, so, and I could hear loads of rustling. It wasn't like a windy day, it was cold, but it wasn't windy, and I could just hear rustling, and I was like, oh my god, they're like a bear's gonna come out. So, not a bear, but like even a deer. Like I'm quite scared of, I mean, I'm not a massive animal person. Not that I don't like animals, but I'm just a bit scared and wary of them. Like I love dogs and stuff like that, but the thought of like a deer, just I with a deer and it trying to attack me or something, I don't know. So that was what I was scared of as a wild animal. But I was like, right, you just got to keep walking. And then it was like, so I was about 1.5 miles down this road, and as I said, like there was not many cars coming past. There must have been like, I must have been walking for about 45 minutes, mile and a half, after 45 minutes, and there was about 3 cars. So I was sort of thankful when a car did come past, so that I wasn't scared of the animal coming to attack me and no one being there. So anyway, I'm walking along, then this car pulls up on the other side of the road, because obviously I was walking in the opposite when the car's coming, you know. So the car pulls up and it stops, and I was like, oh god, I hope this isn't like a scary person who's gonna like whack me in their car and steal me, because there's no other cars around. Like, so I'm walking down, I just keep walking. I was like, I'm just gonna keep walking, I'm not gonna stop, because at that point if I stop then they could take me, whatever, as if they're gonna kidnap me. I'm like 5'10", 5'11", like it would be hard, but at that point you're just like, you're wary of everything really. So I'm walking down this road, and this lady says, like opens a window and says, excuse me, and I was like, oh, I was like, okay, at least it's a lady. So I was like, yeah. And she was like, what are you doing? She was like, oh, where are you going? I was like, oh, just to the next town. She was like, oh, do you want a lift? And I was like, I could see that there was someone in the passenger seat, but I couldn't see who they were, so I didn't know if it was like, I don't know, like in my mind I was like, is that her accomplice, like he's told her to like get me in the car? I don't know, because I couldn't see who else was in the car. So she looked friendly enough, but you never know. So I was like, I'm fine, I'm literally fine. And she was like, no, please let me give you a lift. And then as I got up to the car, I saw it was just 2 ladies, and I thought, I looked at the situation and thought, these 2 ladies, I don't think they're gonna hurt me. I think they're just offering. So I went over, like figured them out, saw them up close, and the passenger got out of the car and was like, please, we'll give you a lift to the next town. You can't walk it, like it's too far. To be fair, there was a massive hill up ahead of me, so I would have had to walk up that hill, which wouldn't have been the end of the world, but I'd already walked 1.5 miles. I was a bit like, I'm cold, and anyway, so I ended up getting in the car. And luckily the lady just explained to me, she was like, I've never seen anyone walking up this road. I'd like to think if my daughter was walking, like a friendly like mother would pick her up. So I was like, okay, so this lady's legit. Anyway, so she was like, oh, where are you going? And I said, oh, I'm just trying to get to the next town, because I was in a pub but the pub was closing. I'm just waiting for someone to come pick me up. So I just want like a cafe or something. She went, oh, there's no cafes in our town. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's another tiny town, like, of course. And they went, oh, there is a pub. And I went, oh, that's fine, like, do you think it'll be open? And she says, well, it's very like hit and miss where it's open, because it's like a country pub. I was like, oh my god. So she said if the door's open when we go into the town, like you'll see the pub's on the corner, if the door's open, it's open, if it's shut, it's not. So you'll have to come back to mine, and you'll have to stay at mine for a bit. And I'm thinking, right, I know you're a friendly lady, but I'm not comfortable going back to your house. Like, I mean, I think I might have, but I was like, I'm not 100%, so I was just begging and praying that this pub was open that I could sit in. So we got to the town. She said, if not, I have to drive you to somewhere else, next town. I'm thinking, oh, I feel bad for this lady now. I don't want her to drive me to another town. Like, it's a Sunday. We've all got stuff to do. So anyway, we get round the corner and I was like, please be open. And the pub door's open. So she was like, well, are you going to be all right here? I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine. Thanks for the lift. Off I go. I was like, bye-bye. So I get out of the car. I made it on my hitchhiking. Well, I wasn't hitchhiking, but I got picked up on the side of the road. So I class that as hitchhiking. Anyway, so I get into this pub. I walk in and it's one of those where it's like locals only, like all men. There's a big landlord, like big pub landlord, like really big guy. And he's behind the bar, and then there's literally like 4 guys at the bar. I turn, and it's one of those where they all turn and look at me as soon as I walk in, and here's me, like little me, like I'm not little, but with all my bags, and they're like, obviously never seen me before, because it's quite a small town. They're like, hello. They're like, all right, love, what are you doing? I was like, oh god. So all these guys in this pub. So I was like, oh, can I should have just sat down, but I was being like, when I was like, are they asking me actually, or are they just like saying hi? So I was like, oh, can I just like grab a table and like do some work or something? I don't even know what I said. And they were like, yeah, obviously, you know, pick any table. Yeah, so I just found the little corner, but obviously the pub's quite small, so I'm still in the same room as all these guys. So I sit down, like luckily there's a laptop charger, plug my laptop in, I get a little lime soda or whatever. I'm sitting there, and then they're literally like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I'm just waiting for someone to pick me up, so I'm just killing some time. They were like, oh, right, okay. Luckily they didn't really ask me anything more, which was weird. Anyway, so I'm just sat there doing my work. They've got a jukebox, haven't they? So the landlord is putting on all these old tunes, and everyone's singing along and dancing, and literally the most crazy experience ever. They're all just... And you know when you want to sort of sing along, but you're like, this is ridiculous, and what am I doing? Anyway, so one of the guys kept coming over basically every hour, because I was there in total for about 3 hours in this pub as it slowly got darker. Not that the dark had anything to do with it, and loads of people coming in and out, and there was probably about 10 guys around the bar having their pints on a Sunday by the time I left. But this one guy every hour would be like, oh, you're not getting picked up, love, come and have a drink with me. And I was like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so about the second time, he's like, oh, come on, what would it take for me to go on a date with you? I said, well, if my lift ain't here by midnight, I'll go on a date with you. Because obviously I wasn't going to be there by midnight, just having a little bit of banter with my main boy, Derek. Don't know what his name was. So after a few times, one of the younger lads in there, I mean, when I say younger, I mean like 30 maybe, was like, oh, leave her alone, all this. He's trying to buy me drinks. He's like, what you drinking? I'm like, lime soda, mate. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, don't buy me drinks. Trying to get me bevved up. Anyway, so very weird experience. Then my boyfriend luckily came about 6 o'clock, so I'd been there for about 3 hours. So yeah, then he was like, what have you done today? I was like, I don't even know. Weirdest experience ever. Obviously I got home and my sister like was ringing me, like when I explained like my day on our group chat. She was like, what are you doing? I would have come picked you up, all this. And I was like, I wasn't that worried, to be honest. I'm quite an independent person. I love a little experience. I love a little voyage. I don't know the word. So I didn't really... I wasn't worried at any point, apart from when I was worried about an animal in the woods. I wasn't like scared or anything. Otherwise I would have just rang someone and been like, yo, you need to come pick me up. I was just having a little adventure, and it's a story to tell at the end of the day, and now I'm telling the story, so I hope you enjoyed that. I know it wasn't the most exciting story, but it was a very crazy day. Let me know if you want any more story times. I've got a couple of stories that were a little bit more interesting than that. But yeah, let me know. Give me a like if you liked the video. I mean, don't give me a like, give the video a like. Subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'll see you next time.